Good morning. Oh, let me try that again. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Welcome. My name is Doug Tisdale. I am the RTD representative to the Denver Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors. I also have the honor of serving as the chair of the Downtown Development Authority Board. On behalf of the board, I am pleased to announce that the Denver Downtown Development Authority today has approved 10 projects for funding with a total commitment of more than $100 million to be spent in downtown Denver. Now, please, thank you. Give it up. The details on these projects will be provided to you by staff and throughout the day, but here's your headline. The Denver Downtown Development Authority is open for business. Downtown Denver is open for business. It's open for recreation. It's open for entertainment. It's open for culture. It's open for living. The Downtown Development Authority has the opportunity and the ability to bring catalytic transformational change to downtown Denver. The first batch of projects is actually the second step in achieving that. Our first step was taken in April, when the board spent the very first DDA dollars in enhancing safety and security in downtown. Now our second step is moving forward these exciting projects. Our priority is to help bring projects to life that will bring thousands of people back to downtown and will create new energy and new excitement for the people who live, work, and play in Denver. I am thrilled. The board is thrilled. Our staff is thrilled to support these projects and to have the opportunity to create a real sense of place and economic revitalization in our city center. These projects will do that. They range from the modest to the imposingly grand, and that's as it should be. We are guided by the maxim, make no small plans, for they have not the power to stir the soul. To cross the finish line, the DDA must communicate, collaborate, and cooperate with City Council, who will consider these projects for amounts that are in excess of $500,000. And there is no greater facilitator for that communication, collaboration, and cooperation than another member of the DDA board, the impactful, wise, and indefatigable president of the Denver City Council. Help me welcome the Honorable Amanda Sandoval. Give it up.
That was an awesome introduction. Wow, so honored. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. As council president and a proud member of the Downtown Development Authority, I'm honored to stand alongside Mayor Johnston, our community members, our partners, to announce the next phase, let me reiterate that, of reinvestment into our city's heart, downtown Denver. These projects reflect a vision of downtown, not just as a commercial core, but as a place where people live, gather, celebrate culture, and build community. We all know downtown has felt the impact of the pandemic, other things, some really challenging times in the last time since I've been elected in 2019. Empty buildings, fewer visitors, and changing needs. But today, we're taking a meaningful step to bring it back. Not as it was before. We have to think bigger than that. We have to be more inclusive and more connected to the people of Denver. These investments mark a turning point, supporting downtown's transformation into a neighborhood. Again, let's think about that, a neighborhood. We started, as our chair said, with public safety, because a thriving downtown must also be safe and a welcoming one. Now we're moving forward with projects that turn vacant buildings into homes for working families. These new homes will bring energy back into our streets and help make downtown a place where we can truly live, not just visit. We're uplifting small businesses, artists, and cultural entrepreneurs who give Denver its spirit. From neighborhoods serving retail to creative spaces and family-friendly experiences, these projects reflect who we are and who we're becoming. When we invest in our local economy, we're investing in the dreams of our neighbors. At the same time, we're reimagining our downtown parks, gathering spaces, and historic buildings. Again, these are not just upgrades, they're investments. They're invitations for families to play, for artists to perform, for neighbors to come together and enjoy all that downtown has to offer. Every decision we've made on the DDA board has been centered in equity, community voice, and long-term impact. This work, again, is not just about recovering, it's about belonging, about creating a downtown that honors its deep cultural and historic roots while looking boldly into the future. Downtown is the soul of our city, where culture, commerce, and community come together. These investments reflect our commitment to shaping a downtown that feels welcoming, lived in, full of purpose, a downtown that belongs to all of us Denverites and Denver Metro. Of course, none of this could be possible without strong values-driven leadership. So I'd like to introduce Mayor Johnston, who's been a true partner in imagining a more inclusive, people-centered downtown. And I thank you for his partnership, and I look forward to working all forward together on the board with the administration and with all of you. And let's give a warm welcome to Mayor Johnston.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to Council President Sandoval, as I said on the way over. Of course, she's helping lead this DDA effort because she doesn't have much else on her plate to manage at this point. So she's got lots of free time. But her relentless commitment to serving every corner of the city is remarkable, and we're so grateful for your leadership on today's historic effort. Thank you so much, Council President. Today launches downtown Denver's economic recovery into overdrive. This is an incredible opportunity for us to deliver a vibrant downtown, and we're going to do it by converting empty office buildings into apartment buildings where working Denverites can afford to live. We're going to do it by building the magnetic and joyful public spaces where Denverites can come and enjoy food and drink, or enjoy a special event or a special day, or just pass some time with someone that they love. And we're going to do it by investing in Denver's small businesses to bring your favorite retailers and favorite restaurants into downtown so that you have a downtown that has the best of Denver only in Denver. That is what today's big vision represents, and incredibly grateful to the DDA board and to the chairman for his leadership in making this historic investment possible. So thank you so much. I want to say a couple round of thank yous, then want to share a little bit about the broader context of this vision and introduce one of the city's great visionaries, Javon Taylor, in just a minute. First of all, I want to thank the incredible team that's helped lead and launch the Downtown Denver Development Authority from our side. That's, of course, Bill Mosier, who has led this effort for us, who's done a fantastic job. Also want to thank Donna Wilder, who's out here somewhere, has done a fantastic job in helping support all of these efforts to make them be successful. And as I talk about the projects, I want to thank some of the private sector partners and public sector partners who helped make this possible. You're going to see today an incredible vision for the conversion of this building and this park into a place that will both be a day for everyday activation, so you can come here and eat in a restaurant or have a drink outside in a beautiful civic center that opens up onto the park. You can host your wedding here, you can have regular activities here, and you can host 10, 15,000 person concerts and gatherings and venues. It is both the everyday activations and the iconic large activations that will make this the heart of the city going forward, and that connects this iconic space into downtown. And so I want to thank Eric and the Civic Center Conservancy for their commitment to both help us make this a true public-private partnership, where he and his team have committed to raising $10 million to help support the development of this transformational vision. And so thank you so much, Eric. And I told your board chair, Chris Frampton, I would thank him for his help from Croatia. He's not taking much vacation to make sure we got this across the finish line. This will include also key activations along the 16th corridor. That will include 2 historic buildings that were currently vacant that will now convert into apartments that will offer more affordable places for Denverites to live in the center of the city while protecting these historic buildings. And it includes partnerships with our great local business leaders. I'm so grateful to Dorit Makovsky, who is here, and Evan Makovsky. One of the things we're launching today, which I'm so excited to introduce, is we know our local business leaders care deeply about the city. They care deeply about its future, and they care deeply about it representing our city at its best. And so we're not agnostic about what comes into downtown. We want them to be more community-led, community-owned businesses. And so we've partnered with Dorit for the conversion of the McClintock building, where we will bring Javon Taylor, who leads Green Spaces, one of our great visionary leaders to design and incubate small businesses in the city, to open up a site in McClintock where we'll have multiple retail opportunities for local businesses to be on Denver's main drag on 16th. And so I think that's an incredible private-public partnership we're excited to launch today. I want to show you a map which I think helps put the individual 10 projects we're describing today in the context of a theory about the revitalization of downtown. If you look at the original Downtown Denver Development Authority, it was created to develop Union Station. When you go to Union Station now, it is one of the great magnets of downtown. It has public spaces, it has restaurants, it has retail, it has commercial activation. It has worked as a magnet. That was the vision behind the extension of the DDDA that the board chair and President Sandoval led and the voters approved, was without increasing taxes, we could use these resources to invest in a much broader space of downtown. That all light blue area shows the region where the DDDA can now invest. But you'll see in the red dots here, Union Station, great magnet for downtown. Larimer Square has grown into a wonderful magnetic attraction of retail, commercial, patios. What we want to do is complete those series of magnetic, joyful places through all of the downtown corridors. So what you'll see here are a set of projects focused around 3 major hubs in downtown. That is Skyline Park, with our incredible redesign that Joel and Clark and our team at Parks and Rec have led. That's going to be incredible landing space for folks to come and enjoy the wild and outdoors in the middle of the city center. Have a cocktail, wait to pick up your kid from daycare like the family I met there 2 weeks ago. That's exactly what we want you to do. Glenarm Plaza, which is both a series of opportunities to stabilize, activate, and transform this space long term. We're delighted to announce today the acquisition of the parking lots behind the Pavilions shopping development. Thanks to our partners at Brookfield who made that possible. That unlocks a critical component for us to be able to make this the central gathering place for the next 50 years of downtown, as it has for many of us for the last 50. And then, of course, Civic Center, which we think is the end cap to this experience where you can move continuously from Union Station through Larimer, Skyline, Glenarm, Civic Center, and connects this whole experience into one uniformed moment of joy. And so that is our vision for that. I want to thank Gretchen Holler, our team from Arts and Venues, who will be able to share more with you if you have questions about the vision for this, for McNichols as a fully activated restaurant, retail, and event space that will connect out into the park. I want to thank Jamie Reif and our team from Host, who is leading the effort to help make sure that we get more and more housing in downtown, and particularly housing that we know working Denverites can afford. I want to thank Adib for his work on recruiting the local retailers and operators who want to be able to help make this downtown vibrant. Really grateful, obviously, to our partners at the Downtown Denver Partnership and to Courtney Garrett for helping make that possible. And, of course, to Nicole, our CFO, who has helped make all the finances of this work. But what you'll see is here a true private-public partnership with a detailed strategy for how to activate the places and spaces that makes folks want to be in downtown every day for everyday activations and on every special day for the most special events. And one place that we know you're going to want to get ready to come visit as soon as it opens is going to be the space that Javon Taylor is going to build. If you haven't been yet to Green Spaces, you should go there. The first time I went there, I said, this guy's a genius. We need to help him have us curate many more spaces in the city that elevate and support local entrepreneurs and give them access to one of the highest volume streets in the city, which is downtown. And so love to welcome to the stage the founder and visionary behind Green Spaces, our new partner together with Makovsky and the McClintock Building, Javon Taylor. Javon, come on up.
First off, thank you all for having me. As a Denver native, this means a lot to be part of this project. I remember growing up going to 16th Street, had the ESPN zone, had the Nike factory, et cetera, and like really cool things to do. And I'm excited to kind of bring new life back to downtown. So again, I want to thank everybody involved, from the Makovskys to Adib to the mayor, DDA board, et cetera, people who I did and did not talk to during the process. But when I first took over Green Spaces back in 2022, the whole goal was to kind of redefine or expand the definition of what sustainability means in our communities and how it goes beyond just saving the trees and saving the turtles, which I do get involved with as well, but it goes, to how do we retain talent in our communities, how do you create ecosystems, and how do you retain culture, and I think a lot of our best minds, our best, creatives go to bigger markets because they feel like they don't have the infrastructure or the support here in Denver, and we're looking to change that. So this project on 16th not only gives, small businesses, opportunity to be on Front Street on 16th Street, but allows them to access these spaces at affordable rates. And we're excited to, spark this project, and hopefully this can spark other initiatives throughout Denver. We're looking to get more small businesses in prominent spaces here in Denver. So that's our whole goal, and I'm excited to be a part of this project. Don't have too many words, but just excited to be a part of this. So thank you. I'll pass it back to the mayor.
I think we are open to questions, Mr. Chairman. If there are questions for any of our experts on the panel, we would be happy to open it up. And I think that Gretchen and Joel are also going to lead a quick tour after this for folks who want to see a visual of what the both McNichols activation and the Civic Center activation would look like, if that's helpful. Are there any questions? Yes.
Mayor, can you run us through where the money for this is going to come? I know that it's been a big talking point over the past couple of weeks.
Thank you. I apologize. I should have said that at the very beginning. Most important thing is all of these investment dollars come through the extension of a tax increment finance that was put in place in 2008 for Union Station. So voters last year voted to extend that mechanism for the next 15 years without increasing taxes. So these are not general fund dollars. These are not city dollars. These are not city capital dollars. These are dollars that are owned and cared for by the Downtown Denver Development Authority, and they only have the legal approval to spend those dollars in this footprint. That's controlled by statute. So, and it's dollars that come from the taxes that are generated by the commercial activity that was built at Union Station. So the idea was, if you believe that you can build development that will drive new growth, then you can keep some of the growth from those new entities to support future growth. This was supposed to be a 30-year project at Union Station. It was so successful, it completed 15 years early, which is why the chairman and the board saw fit to extend it, but to expand the area that can be invested in to beyond Union Station. But these are all not city dollars, not general fund dollars, and they're not city capital dollars. It's really run by the authority directly. Mr. Chairman, you want to add to that?
Just one thought, and that is to recognize that That $500 million that was the first spend of the DDA on Denver Union Station has resulted in what we have estimated to be $5 billion of economic development and expansion around Denver Union Station. So I'd say it worked out pretty well.
If you could do that again, that would be great, Mr. Chairman. Yes, ma'am.
Fox 31. Could you just specifically address the optics for our viewers? Yesterday you announced layoffs and you were obviously explaining different buckets. Yes. Can you just address that directly?
Yeah, I appreciate that. We obviously know the city is facing challenging economic times, as most large cities are around the country. One of the reasons we're seeing that is a decline in sales tax revenue. People are spending less and going out less. And so we think there are two parts of how you manage your way out of a crisis like this. One is, like any family or business, you have to reduce your expenditures to meet how much revenue you have. The second is you do have to invest in the growth that's going to drive more economic development to help restore that revenue. And so this is why we think it's important to not stand still in these moments. We do need to keep investing and keep growing, but we have to do it with different resources. And so this is why the council president is also leading a council process on a bond measure, which would allow us to make key public investments in roads and bridges and infrastructure that allow for growth. Because in this moment when there is economic headwinds at the federal level and the state level and the local level, we want to make sure Denver continues to do what it can to grow our economic prospects even in difficult times. But yes, important to know we could take the DDA fund to $0 and it would not change a single impact on a single city employee or a single city program. Those are all general fund dollars linked to our sales tax revenue. What this can do is help us drive up that sales tax revenue to make sure the city recovers strongly in the years ahead. Thank you for that. Yes.
I'm intrigued by converting old buildings and office buildings into housing. We've seen the massive spending on the 16th Street Mall and your plans to try and get local businesses, things that bring people downtown, daycares to that area, things that traditionally we didn't see on the 16th Street. How important is it to get people to live downtown to revitalize the area?
It's critically important to have people live downtown as part of the long-term vision. Many folks on the stage behind me have often said, this is about moving Denver from a central business district to a central neighborhood district, which is it needs to be a neighborhood where folks live every day. They get up and go get coffee at 8 in the morning. They go to lunch. They go for a beer at 5 o'clock. We love to have folks that come to visit and folks from other neighborhoods who come downtown for special events. But to support the business Javon's going to bring, we need to have folks that are permanent residents. And it's a great combination because we have 7 million square feet of empty office space in downtown. That's one problem to solve. We have a shortage of affordable housing across the city. It's another problem to solve. This allows us to solve both of those at the same time, which is converting those empty buildings to be activated and having them activated not just from 9 to 5 every day, but 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And that is the real catalyst for us in helping stabilize long-term recovery of downtown.
Mayor, are there any projects that are being funded entirely or financed entirely through DDA money?
Mr. Chair, do you want to address that?
For example, in response to your question, the Brookfield acquisition is all DDA money that we are using to acquire those 2 lots. And that creates a tremendous opportunity for us for dealing with future development. There are other projects where we have done more than our targeted 20%. As we've said before, DDA exists principally as a gap funding mechanism. You build your capital stack, and we know, as I've said before, when you're doing a real estate deal, the first $1 million is hard, but you know that last $1 million is even harder. And the in-between stuff seems to kind of flow in, but it's that last step after you've built your capital stack. That's what we are intended to provide and what we did so successfully around Denver Union Station. Now, to the extent we carry that forward, we can hopefully keep ourselves within that gap funding mechanic, but also be open to and available for projects where, yes, it does make sense for us to do 100% investment. Very long-winded answer. I'm a lawyer, I'm sorry, and a politician, so, geez.
Project off of Wilson Ave funding, and how many were covered
Chair, do you want to do that, or Bill? Or?
We did, today we did 3 public projects, 4 business incentive projects, and 3, help me again now, let's see. That's right, 3 private development, 3 public, and 4 business incentive projects. So we made a point of trying to go across the boards and do a variety of things in order to get everyone excited about what's going on. We're here. We've done this. And we have a great vision that a great mayor has really helped us, inspired by other prior great mayors. I saw Mayor Pena at the State of the City, and I said, we're still imagining a great city. And that's what we're doing. And these dollars that do not represent a tax increase for anyone and do not represent general fund dollars of the city are being used to leverage and to increase and enhance what we can do to make downtown Denver once again the glorious gem that it was, the Queen City of the Plains. That's what we're trying to do.
And I'll just add, as council president who serves on the board, City Council approves the approval authority for anything over $500,000 in the city, any contract. That rings true for the DDA board. So today, the DDA board authorized a subset of money. So as these projects, you'll have another opportunity to watch these go through the legislative process. So today, I stand here and I have my DDA board hat on, and then we'll have to move them through the legislative process through City Council. You all are really well tuned in to our City Council structure, our committee structure, going through, and anything over $500,000 will ultimately go through City Council for final approval and any contracts associated with those dollars. So investment into Civic Center Park, investment into McNichols, those contracts, anything over $500,000 will also go through the approval process. So it's a checks and balance. We're being prudent with the tax dollars that come in through here, and then we're also watching them on the City Council level, which is our 100% within our charter authority.
Union Station was a clear success, but this is your level that Market Station hasn't seen the same results. What have you learned about Market Station that you're applying to future projects?
Great question. I don't know, Bill or Mr. Chair, or any of y'all want to take that on?
Thank you. Market Station was part of Denver Union Station. It was sold by RTD when it was the Market Street Station and was redeveloped by a private development group that includes retail, office, and housing, and so that's gone through various iterations. We have one tenant that we are funding here that will move them on to 16th Street at Market Street Station and hopefully activate the street and the location. But Market Street Station is a private development at this point that was sold as part of the Denver Union Station project and is contributing to the revenues that we're now funding with. Okay?
What he said.
The full vision to be realized?
Well, the great thing about this $100 million approval that the board did today is there will be significant, I would say most of the dollars will be committed within the next 12 months. Parks is ready to proceed with Skyline and with Civic Center Park, which is about $35 million of our commitment, much more than that on their part from all sorts of different sources, but those will be underway by the end of the year. The Brookfield lots obviously will be acquired this year and will be sold at some point for redevelopment for various kinds of mixed use that's allowed by zoning, which includes office, hotel, housing, et cetera. And then all of the tenants that we're working with should be underway this year with their tenant improvements and move forward. The housing projects will take a little bit longer, but one of them is already in process, and they both expect that they can be under construction in 2026. So for the most part, this $100 million should be underway in some form or another a year from now.
Hold on, before you do that, I was going to invite Adib up to talk a little bit about some of our other small retailers we're bringing on and when you might see those stores open.
Yeah, so we have, as Doug Tisdale mentioned earlier, we have 4 of the business incentive projects. Some of those projects are currently underway, and this funding will help them to be able to kind of fully realize their opening. And so we obviously need to go through the legislative process with city council approval, so timing will be somewhat contingent upon that. However, we do expect the Denver Immersive Repertory Theater, the Sunday Ice Cream, which is already announced an opening. These dollars will help them to be able to create a flagship store on 16th Street. Milk and Tea, these dollars will help them to complete their capital stack and then allow that project to also move forward. And we'll be able to kick off the Green Spaces project as well. So if we have a smooth movement through the legislative process, we expect all of these businesses to be open by next year.
City going up and down and bringing small businesses. I don't know if maybe this is something Javon might be able to speak to, but it seems like we're seeing a change in people wanting to come back to the 16th Street Mall now.
Yeah, there's a spark of people wanting to come back to 16th Street. Our vision really on our project, the Green Spaces, is we're filling up around like 18,000 square feet of small business retail space. And it's going to be a mix of food and beverage. We're bringing some cultural food options to art gallery spaces, to clothing stores. And I think it really gives you a taste of what some of the best small businesses in Denver have to offer. Because right now on 16th, you're going to see a lot of chains that you can kind of find anywhere in America. So we're looking to make 16th like a unique hub, and really like when newcomers or visitors or whoever come to Denver, like come to 16th Street and like, oh, this is cool. This is something that's vibrant. This is something that gives 16th life. And so, yeah.
Regarding the public projects, I'm curious how many full-time employees are going to be required for those. I'm thinking of you all having to make hard decisions right now and just whether new jobs are going to be created within the city or whether people are going to be redeployed.
Yeah, on the parks projects, these are largely construction projects that will revamp how these spaces can be used, enliven them, make them more usable for people, and we'll continue to look as we go from there for partnerships like with the Civic Center Conservancy to make sure that we are maintaining those assets in the same way. And so right now we don't foresee any additional FTEs. It's more making sure that that infrastructure is modern, is up to date, is usable by all of our awesome partners who's used those spaces and by the public, and then making sure that we're taking care of them.
The housing projects, we've got 2 of them at this point. We have other applications that we're considering, but the 2 at the corner of Champa and 16th Street, both Sims and University Building, are historic buildings that are vacant, and they will be redeveloped into housing. And those are private enterprises that will be privately developed, so there'll be all private jobs in the construction and then obviously the private operations. Both of those buildings have full first floor retail. They will also be on 16th Street that will be activated through this process. There are one of them is actually designated affordable through, we're hoping that they can get some CHAFA low-income housing tax credit financing. The other one is market rate housing, which is called market rate housing, which downtown right now is workforce housing, but roughly 80 to 100% of average median income for downtown workers. Oh, we had one. We have,
special permitting stuff. Will that be fast-tracked by the city so that these projects can get completed in a reasonable period of time?
Good question. The good news is there are no rezonings because the B5 zone allows everything that we're doing to proceed. Some of the projects are a little further along in the permitting process than others, so some of them will move forward. But we do have fast-track permitting processes for retailers on 16th Street that's been very effective, that either the partnership or the mayor can speak more eloquently than I about that, but that moves forward quickly. And then any adaptive reuse project that we're doing, which includes the 2 historic buildings, will go through an adaptive reuse process through CPD. So we expect all of these to go through processes that are already in place and move these fairly quickly through the process. And as you know, the mayor and the community planning department have done a lot of work to speed up the zoning and permitting process, and so the DDA is we'll be testing that out.
Yeah, I'll just update on the permitting, specifically, for example, the express permitting program we launched last year's 4/16. We've had a number of folks go through that process, and we've seen terrific results. We've been able to get permits issued in as short of time as 4 weeks. We have a number of them that are currently going through it. We've had some announcements that have happened recently. I think last week, Mendocino Farms announced that they're opening on 16th Street. They're going through that express permitting process as well. It really brings all the permitting infrastructure at the city at the table directly with the business to be able to answer all questions, do the review in an expeditious fashion, and then be able to take them to a final permit completion as quickly as we can. And so we'll be doing that with all these projects. And as Bill mentioned, we have separate programs that are similar in nature for our housing projects as well.
I'm going to wrap and let you go to the tour. I'll just say huge credit to Adib and his team. Those were processes that used to take 18 months to get a permit to open a retail or a restaurant shop in downtown. To do that now in 4 weeks means we're pressing the easy button for folks to be able, for amazing creators like Javon to say, yes, I want to be on 16th Street. And that is exactly the vision, is when the best creators in Denver want to be in downtown. That means we know we're doing something right. And those are exactly the voices, the faces, the retailers we want in our city centers. When you come to downtown, you say, wow, this is the best of Denver, only in Denver. I couldn't find this in any other city in the country. I'll let the chairman make some closing comments. I just wanted to say that this is exactly the culmination of the work we've been doing on downtown over the last 2 years. Is yes, first we had to focus on addressing homelessness in the city center, where we had thousands of tents and large encampments that were unsafe for folks living there and unsafe for residents. We've closed those, moved those folks into transitional housing. We had to focus deeply on public safety. We've increased and created the dedicated Downtown Denver Police Unit that's driven down all sorts of crime in downtown, making sure folks feel seen, feel safe, they can walk anywhere. And the result of that is now when we add to that the investment in the public spaces that are joyful, the investment in the amazing businesses that will make you want to come visit, and offering more and more housing where folks can afford to live. That is, we think, the recipe to create the most vibrant downtown in the country, and today is a huge step forward in that process. So I want to thank the council president and the chairman and the DDA board for their vision and leadership. We're so excited to get to work. I'll give it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
So you got your headline, you know what that is. And you know that we have approved 10 projects for over $100 million. Stay tuned. We have another $475 million yet to go, and we have over 100 other applications in the pipeline today, and we keep on getting new ones. This is a continuing process that will continue to provide great results that will give us an excitement, a vibrancy, a renewal, a revitalization that we all so much want and that we all so deserve. So you here are the first to hear what we've done today, but again I say, stay tuned. Thank you.
If you want the tour of the amazing future of what McNichols and Civic Center can be, follow John and Jen, I think. But first, we're going to do a photo. Quick photo, Javon.